Ore Samaraido. Here is my premium Victor Nova deck. This is a rogue deck right now, currently in premium, but the way I built it, I really enjoy playing. Let me know what you think and leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe and enjoy. So for starters, we run 4 Zubat Battler Victor. This of course is standard for any Victor deck. This is perfection, as I refer to it. Perfection meaning that this is the best Victor form, and you have to run it at 4 in order to take advantage of the Victor support cards that premium has access to in order to make some powerful attacks. So the standard of Victor, of course, is generating advantage through your multi-attack, and Victor is just the epitome of that with its skill to countercharge, soul charge, and draw, and the on-tread skill to draw another card, help you get another piece into your deck. Next we run 3 Illuminal. Illuminal, of course, is really good just because I think this card takes away the reason for this deck to run Seabreeze with its skill that I'd much rather use for Counterblast 2 instead of going into Seabreeze, because a lot of the GB cards in this deck require Counterblast. Being able to restand the card that attack and get your Excel Circle, you'll always go Excel 2. Bottom line is, I'd much rather use Illuminal skill than Seabreeze's skill, just because I feel like for the Nova deck it gives you more value than accelerating your Generation Break, because your Generation Break cards require Counterblast. And it's a good beater as well on rear guard, plus 15k is no joke. For grade 2s we run 4 Brutal Jack. Brutal Jack of course is really good for Nova decks, being a 19k base and being able for it to rest 2 of your units to restand it can be bad at times. But usually when you have Raizer Custom, you know, you really only rest 1 unit so it can restand. And nothing more to say other than 19k beater is really, really good. Next we run 3 Golsachi. Golsachi, of course, is super good because it's a Victor deck and it's necessary to take care of your Victor card abilities. So Golsachi, of course, is, you could even use its skill when you're not at Generation Break, and to go along with our other restanders. By it gaining power when you have GB2, it's not hard to achieve. We also run Kick at 2 copies. Kick is really important just because you could restand before your GB, such as Golsachi does. And then to wrap up our restander list, we run 2 copies of White Hank, or Cool Hank, sorry. I think this is better than Ninjad, which most people play, just because it doesn't require Victor Vanguard, and like I said, it's important for you to get that Excel Circle so you can extend even further with your attacks. And Cool Hank just helps you do that without being restricted to a Victor Vanguard. And then finally, 2 copies of Kenbeam. Of course, Rush is still really relevant in the meta, so you must be playing your 10k vanillas. And I only found space for 2. There are some other cards that I would like to test in this slot, just because Brutal Jack already helps with your grade 2 game and could hit over some of those big numbers. But Kenbeam, always reliable, never left me down, and just a consistent beater in general. Next for grade 1s, should be pretty simple. 4 Arisheed, Stridefather, searches out Victor. Nothing more to say other than you gotta run it. 4 Raizer Custom. The effect to attack on your first turn is pretty powerful, but most of the time you want to damage deny your opponent. We mainly use them for a second skill, to where if something stands in front of it, that 2 restands you can get off of Winning Champ or Bustered skill with. It's really, really good. The only reason why this deck is still relevant is Shout. So Shout is a generates advantage for either our soul or our hand. You rest it, and then both you and your opponent reveal the top card of your deck. Whoever has the higher grade puts it into their hand, and whoever has the lower grade puts it to your soul. It just gives us another resource. That's why we gotta run it at 3. I wanna find room for 4 Shout, but I don't know, just because Gunzdon is so important to the deck. Being able to give all of your units resist is really nice in those Kagura matchups, and it's better to not need it and have it than to need it and not have it. Our triggers are pretty standard for most Victor decks. We run 6 crit, 6 draw, 4 heal, and White Tiger just to get the draw, and you could use it with Raizer Custom if you want to use its skill. The G Zone is pretty different than most Victor decks. We run 1 Winning Champ. Winning Champ at 1 is pretty okay, just because you really only use it against people that play Honolly, just because I run other cards that could take advantage of some other stuff that the Victor deck has. So 1's fine, I like it. 2 Meteokaiser Victor. Meteokaiser Victor is mainly there for when you're stuck on Illuminal and you need the Victor stuff, or you're at GB3 and you have face down damage and you just want to extend your attack significantly further with its 5k skill because you're already using Counter Blast for like White Hank or Golsachi, which would make your Vanguard a Victor. So, and we have a cool SP, so bling bling. One copy of I Win the Game. Favorite champ, really important to all Victor decks. I don't have Progenitor or Start, so this is mainly my main win con. Busted as I call it, standard to play 1 or 2. I think 1 is fine just because once you use it, you're pretty out of cards in your deck that you want to be able to get off your other effects without fear of deck out. And it really, honestly, this is mainly just a setup card for other plays in your deck because you're going to be so exhausted on Soul so that winning champ would be useless in some spots. So it's mainly set up for your other strides such as favorite champ, and I run Bustered as well just because your opponent would lock you into 1 damage situations and you want to be able to take advantage of some of your strides. You play 1 GB8, like I said, I don't run Stark or Progenitor because I don't have them. So if you have one of those cards, you want to run it in this spot. Next we play 2 Victoplasma. Victoplasma is here for if we play against Link Joker. I think that the Blau critical would also find a place in this deck if Link Joker ever becomes super relevant in Premium. Just more testing would show just because Premium you really have to test and find out what works for you. And then our G-Guard lineup, pretty self-explanatory when you think about it. We play 2 Dogantitan. I know some people are playing 3. I prefer 2 just because you could always flip it down with your soul, which you generate through Shout and of course other things, Zubat. 1 Unior. Like I said, sometimes I like to be on Illuminal, and being able to countercharge with Unior skill is really helpful. It always comes up whenever I use it. And then Gunzdon, of course, usually if I'm on Victor and Unior doesn't work, I always flip up Unior, and Gunzdon just gives the ability to countercharge and extend further on our next offensive push to help us wrap up the game fast. And that's the deck. Nothing more to say other than I love this deck and Victor, and I'm glad I could show it off to y'all. This is one of my favorite decks of all time. So remember to subscribe if you haven't, like this video, share it. Really helps a lot. We're almost at 100 subs, and enjoy. Peace.